Hey, Dan here, and in this video I am going to discuss if you should niche down as an accountant, but most importantly also why and what potentially all the benefits are from niching down with your accounting firm. So before we dive in, I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Dan and I'm the owner of Accounting Kings, where we work with accountants to help them get more higher paying clients. We spend about $50,000 on ads for accountants every single month. So I definitely know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. So now that you know that this information, this advice is actually trustable, let's dive right in. Okay, so niching down as an accountant. What are actually the benefits of niching down and when should you niche down? So before we dive in with the first point, I want to make sure that you know that if you niche down, you don't have to niche down with everything you do. My main advice is niche down with just your marketing. It's not that if you decide to niche down that you have to fire all your clients and only keep the people in the industry as you want to go after. But there are certain things that are very beneficial of niching down. And since I've been doing this for 6 years, recently with the majority of our clients, we are niching down and it has a huge positive impact on their results. So let's dive right in about what the actual benefits are of niching down. So number one, easier to communicate value. This is a huge one. So if you own an accounting firm and you probably realize that communicating the value of the actual service that you provide can sometimes be a little hard because every single industry has different things that it wants from an accountant. For example, people in the construction industry, they want to get job costing. People in the real estate industry, they want to have more tax saving strategies, as an example. So it's easier to communicate value because it's more applicable to the situation of the person that you are talking to. So if, let's say, someone from the trucking industry is coming to you and you have a lot of experience working with truckers, you can talk in their language. You can talk in deduction strategies if they own their own truck, deducting the food that they ate if they are on the road, for example, or certain maintenance things. You can really talk in their language so it's resonating more with them. However, if you are talking with a business owner from an industry you never worked with, of course you can still do the books and do a great service, but it's harder to actually communicate the value because the message that you send out there is resonating less with them. It's harder to actually communicate the actual value that you provide during the appointment, for example. So it's way easier to communicate the value if you already have experience in that specific industry, which is a big pro because not only your sales conversion rate will increase, but also everything else in the sales process before that. You will get more clicks, more people will convert, more people will show up, and more people will actually be qualified. So it's easier to communicate, which is point one. But then point two, increase trust and authority. So if you can clearly show to someone, hey, you own a trucking company and I've already worked with more than 16 other trucking businesses and we have saved this business, save $20,000 on their tax bill, or we help them increase their profit margins by using this strategy that we can also implement for your business. Directly, your authority and trust will go through the roof because you can simply show them, I've already helped people in the same exact industry with the same type of business structure to achieve these amazing results. So it's not only easier to communicate the value, but you can actually give examples from success stories that you had already, which will increase your authority, which you can then again translate to your ads, your landing pages, your sales appointments. So it's not only easier to win the trust and have the authority, but all of those elements you can translate to other parts in your sales and marketing. So it's easier to communicate the value and it's easier to win the trust simply because you have done it before and you can give very specific examples. Now then number three, I already touched base a little bit on this, but that's a higher closing rate. If you can communicate value better and if you can win someone's trust and if you actually are an authority in the industry, it's way easier to close someone. So let's say that you are talking with a potential client and they're interviewing a couple other firms. So they interview maybe even 10 potential accountants to work with. But if you are the only one with niche expertise and your whole messaging for that potential client is based around their industry, your sales conversion rate will also go through the roof because they trust you more. They actually see the value of your business more, and you can go a bit more in depth in the sales appointments. Not only that, you also have to put in less effort to close them. So you can actually spend more time talking with them, being a bit more productive with them, being a bit more proactive with them, and give them better advice, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's say let's say that you work with farms, for example, and you've helped the farm already to increase their profits and make their whole accounting process easier. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and take a look at what is possible for them during that sales appointment, because you already know certain things. So as an example, I have an accountant that is active in the automotive industry. He had a automotive business before when he was younger, and I was listening to the sales calls that he was doing, and he was already saying, like, within the first few minutes, are you using these and these and these deductions? Have you ever thought about implementing this strategy and structuring your accounting and bookkeeping process this way? Which, if you don't have experience in a specific industry, you first need to learn the industry. You need to learn how their business works. And if you actually already know how their business works, you don't have to ask about their business, but you are going to directly go into the nitty-gritty and ask, have you implemented this strategy? Have you done this already? Which then, for the person actually being on the other end of the Zoom meeting or the phone call or table, they directly see, okay, well, this accountant actually knows what he or she is talking about. So your closing rate will increase. It's easier to communicate the value, so that's why it will be higher. You can already give examples of how you worked with someone, so the trust and authority will increase. And those are all things that will result in a higher closing rate. And a higher closing rate is great, but one of the most important things is higher value clients. So that's point 4. If you can really clearly communicate the value, if you have high trust and authority, and if you know already, you know what, I will definitely convert about 50%, you can simply charge more. Not only is the value that you provide higher because you already have experience, the onboarding will be seamless, you can directly implement certain strategies, so the speed of when your client will achieve their goal is faster, and the likelihood of they achieving their goal is also higher, which is more higher value for them, so you can simply charge more. But also, you already know what you are doing, so you can charge more. So if you, for example, if someone comes to you and they own a construction business and they just want their bookkeeping done, maybe you can charge them like $1,000 per month for it, right? If you do a good job with selling. However, if they come to you with bookkeeping needs and you can actually show to them, you know what, I can do this, like, no doubt about it, but I've actually have 10 other construction clients and I did job costing for them. And I actually also took an advisory role in their business. And I actually advised them into implementing these and these strategies to help them save money and cut out some costs that they actually didn't need. Would you be interested in that? And simply because you have the authority, you can clearly communicate the value and you are not afraid of losing a deal because you have a high closing rate, they will be actually more likely to move forward with you because they see that you know what you're talking about. They see the value, and instead of just coming in for $1,000 or even a $500 per month bookkeeping service, they leave with a $2,000 per month fractional CFO package. And this is simply because you are more valuable to this client. So higher value clients is a huge one. It will not only be more fun to work with them, but you can, per client you work with, also provide more value, which is another huge benefit. Then number 5, which I also really like, is more relevant ads plus messaging. So this is a huge one if you are doing advertising, if you create content, or if you're doing cold outbound, is because you need to make sure that your messaging is really resonating with your audience. And if you target general businesses, you can always say, we help you get out of trouble with the IRS, more profit margins, lower tax, save you time. That's, everybody is saying that. But if you can actually narrow down your message where if you work with realtors, for example, they maybe all want to drive a BMW as a wild example. And if you can actually tell them, hey, well, I can help you save on taxes and stay out of the IRS with these specific real estate laws so that you can drive that BMW that you really want to drive, that will really resonate with them. So a lot of accountants, for example, they just want to deliver great service to their clients. They want to maybe sell the firm in the future for retirement. Maybe they want to bring on some people in the business and travel a bit more and pay off some debt. Those are in general a few goals of my industry, the industry that I work with. And I can actually use that messaging with my Facebook and LinkedIn cold outbound, with my emails that I'm sending, with the content that I'm creating here, but also with the ads that I'm running. So this will not only resonate in a higher conversion rate, as I talked earlier, a higher closing rate, but per person that sees your ads, more people will click on it because it's resonating with them. So the more clicks you get per impression, the higher click-through rate, and the platforms that you advertise on, Meta, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, whatever platform you use, they actually like it if people like your ads. They're going to give you a discount. So your cost per lead will go down because they will give you a discount. But your landing page conversion rate will also increase because it's resonating more. You will talk on the landing page, hey, I can help you save this amount of money by using these specific strategies for your industry. It's resonating more with them, so they will convert more likely. So the cost per lead will also go down. People will also be more likely to show up to the meeting because you can make a big promise. With one of the accountants that I work with, he's active in the construction industry, and he looked at the numbers and he actually found that in general, he can save he can save construction businesses an average of 15%. So he made a guarantee of it, and he made a pretty wild claim, which he can back up. So everybody that is scheduling meetings, they also show up because they want that big promise and they want that amazing goal, that amazing thing that he can deliver to them. And not only that, and with that, this is a huge one, especially with advertising, the lead quality will also increase. Because if you run an ad about tax saving strategies, every person wants to save on their tax bill. So you will get high net worth individuals, but you will get also just an individual who doesn't have like a huge income or business, right? And that's maybe not someone that you are after. And if you only target businesses in the real estate industry, or you only target GP practices, for example, there's no way that another industry is going to schedule a meeting because your messaging will not resonate with them at all. So your lead quality will also increase. So every single metric, from click-through rate, cost per lead, cost per appointment, cost per client, will increase, and you are also going to charge more because you can deliver more. So that it's just a huge thing if you niche down, that every single metric will increase. Now, then point number 6, referrals. So I made a video about this, that at some point you want to be a bit more picky with the type of clients that you take on, because a specific type of client will bring you the same type of client, right? If you have a lot of low income individuals, they will refer you more low income individuals. But if you have a lot of business owners doing 5 million per year in the real estate industry, guess what? They are going to give you more business owners doing 5 million per year in the real estate industry, because they talk with these types of people. They go to the events, they go to the birthdays of these types of people. So they are also going to refer you more of these types of people. So for example, I will give my business as an example. There's not a single chance that I'm going to get a referral from an accountant from someone in real estate, for example, to do their ads. Like maybe a very small chance, but I'm only getting referrals from accountants. So the lead quality is very high from my referrals. And they're also more likely to refer, because if someone in the network is going to say, hey, I actually want to do some marketing, then your clients will say, hey, actually, my accountant, he has experience with someone in your industry. So yeah, you can talk with them. And then again, same thing happens. Higher chance they show up, higher chance that they will qualify, higher chance that they will close, and pay you more. So the referrals will also increase, which is also a benefit, because most of you watching, they probably mainly grow from referrals. And then last, plus not least, especially not least, number 7, easier operations. So since you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you already know exactly what you need to do. You already know how to do job costing. You already know how to implement real estate tax saving strategies. So the onboarding will become a little easier. You already know exactly what strategies that you are going to implement. And it's the same thing with your staff. Your staff probably also know exactly, hey, I've actually already done the bookkeeping for such a business. I already know how to do this. So they will become more efficient. So more efficiency is they can take on more clients, your profit margins will increase, but also your value that you can actually provide to them will increase, because the likelihood that they will achieve their goal is higher, and it will also be faster. So I don't think that there is a huge downside to niching down, as long as you just don't really overdo it. Like, you can also be too specific. If you say, I only want to work with real estate agents that have more than, I don't know, 20 sales every month, and also like driving BMWs, will they have 5 kids, and their favorite food is pizza. That's a wild example, but you know what I mean. If you are going too niche, then there's not a single person that you can target, right? You can also do sub niches. So for example, if you target the construction industry, you can go after roofers. If you target trades companies, you go after HVAC. As an example, for me, if I target financial professionals, I can go with accountants or CPAs or bookkeepers or tax pros. Like, there are certain sub industries that you can target, but again, you don't only have to limit yourself. So you can work with real estate investors and real estate developers and landlords and property managers, but the messaging and the targeting can be different, so that you still have the benefit. So my advice, niching down, yes, absolutely. You are not marrying a niche. It's not that if you pick a niche that you have to stick with it for the rest of your life, but there are some serious benefits. So I really hope that this provided you some insights, some value. I really hope that you learned something. If you did learn something, please leave a like so that the algorithm can serve this video to more accountants that may need it. If you have specific questions regarding sales or marketing for your firm, just leave them in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss any other videos. And if you want to get more clients for your accounting firm, but you don't really have the time or the experience to do this, or you just don't like to do the marketing, you can click on the first link to figure out what it exactly is that I do, and you click on the second link in the description if you want to join a free Facebook community to network and learn with other like-minded accountants. So again, really appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.